hopefully this is working, because we're going to have to find out if it isn't or not. So everybody, welcome to the live stream of our tribe. It's the first time we've done this before. It's going to be a really long day, and it's going to be a little bit homemade at some point, I'm sure, because these things often are a bit clunky around the edges. If anybody's ever done a live stream with multiple people coming on, very, very difficult. So Jim, why don't you introduce yourself, and I'll make sure that we're going live, because that looks slick then.
Yeah, definitely. Well done, Martin. Yeah, I think this is from a home show. Nobody knows where it's going to go. But yeah, I'm Jim Beresford. I'm the CCO for Resumo, and I also run Beresford Associates, which is a tech advisory firm. I'm here with Martin to co-host. I put my hand up and said, yeah, of course, I'll do this for 8 hours with Martin all day. So, but wow, we've got a great lineup, Martin, today. Some really great people coming on.
We've got about, I said, let's look through the list. We've got about 25, 26 people throughout the day from different types of recruitment backgrounds, and some not that recruitmenty. So a real mixture, I guess, of people that are in-house doing talent acquisition. We've got some agency recruiters coming along. We've got some tech vendors and a bunch of people also sort of other forums, other groups, whatever the word is we're going to use. Not all of them are here. Talk about that later, depending how I feel. But most of them are here. And for those of you in the in-house recruitment world, or the recruitment world in the UK, we've got the legend that's Bill Borman coming along later on this afternoon, which would be really good, because he's part of the reason that we're here, I suspect. Shall I just whiz through who we've got in the morning, and then you and me can have a chat, because then it looks wonderful. So we've got
definitely.
So start off with, we've got Dean, although I don't know if it's Dean or Dane, from Nuffield Health, which is going to be good. He's been doing a lot of work around care homes, hasn't he? So we talked to him about, I guess, the current situation, where it's going on, etc., etc. We should hopefully have Gareth from Carew popping in to talk about Carew. We've got Cattle from Resumo. Do you know anything about Resumo, Jim? We're talking to him.
A little bit.
We've got Giles from JobTrain. Then we've got a grown-up. We've got Dan from Bet365, who hopefully, if I bully him enough, is going to talk about onboarding, particularly in this current environment where organisations are trying to carry on hiring, still having to bring people in, even though the first day in the office is actually in your basement like this. 11 o'clock, we've got Karen dialing in from Tel Aviv, and she's got a forum called HR Tech Nation, which she'll want to talk about. Again, that sort of real collaborative approach to things like True, engagement with some other bits and pieces. And we've got this is in Slick. We've also got then Matt from Tech Returners, who joins at 11:30 rather. That feels like a sort of a point of whatever. We've then got some afternoony stuff, so we'll plug that along as we go along. We wrote some notes yesterday, didn't we, to say about how we were going to open this, and I've noticed we've not done that, which I love about YouTube, because I don't think there's anybody watching. But love to say the word.
Well, they might.
Oh, that's just a lie. That's actually a lie. That's a big fat lie. I've got it in front of me. There are people watching. Hi, people watching.
Okay.
For the people watching, there's only a handful of you right now. If you've got any questions or things you want to answer along the way, which you mentioned that lots and lots and lots, shove some comments onto the live YouTube stream. We'll start posting these things out on LinkedIn as sort of people get talking, etc. It's super slick. There's no production. There is Jim. There is me. We haven't got any minions tapping away. So if at some point I disappear behind this magic curtain, that's purely because I've gone to go and respond to something. So we started this because of, I guess, I don't know, a situation maybe, or not situation. Maybe I'll talk about why I thought we were going to do this. I started this because of True Manchester, True Leeds, True by the Sea, True Birmingham, and wanting to put them together in some spot. We've got online communities, or whatever people like to call it. These are real communities, and I've put it together to be a thing. But at that moment of time of putting it together to be a thing, we've then found ourselves, sat at home, locked away from people. And I guess we've talked about this. There's this sort of a moment in time where people are feeling a little bit exposed, a little bit not quite sure what to do. And I think they've got family, they've got this, they've got that. But undoubtedly there are some people, maybe talk to your point, that sort of sat, this is it. This online experience is all they've got, really. So do you tell me about what your thoughts were and stuff, and I'm just going to mess with the technology.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there are a number of shows happening, and I don't think, a lot of people in our sector are used to tuning in, especially to Hans, including Brain Food and the Crowdcast. There are more shows coming through. I know we're going to have Louise and Claire on later on talking about the working lunch. And the one thing I think we were both chatting about last night, Martin, was the fact that we first wanted to really shout out to all the NHS and care professionals out there, and give them a round of applause for us, for the support they're doing, and everyone on the front line who is helping us move forward really as best we can in these really unprecedented times, where this is starting to become the norm. I know I jump into the working lunch now most lunch times and find it really, really good to have a chat with people. And hopefully people will find this good and get a bit of insight and a bit of a different way of doing things. So, be interested in what people do and what they're saying and how they're going through. And I think through the guests will be to actually find out from them how they're coping with things, what's happened with them. I know Dane, who's coming on at 9:30, has got young children as well. And I think we're all juggling that balance at home between our work, our focus of work, our family. We mentioned just a minute ago the fantastic Joe Wicks that he's doing to keep us physically healthy through this and mentally as well. So there are a number of challenges that we're all going through. And I think that, as everyone says, we're all in it together, really. So, be really interesting. See what people are going to come up with and chat about. So, from their sofa.
From their sofa, well, yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. I've learned so much more about people's home offices / bedrooms / wherever. I won't name them. I did a call the other day with somebody. It's like, oh, it's a nice bedroom. Like, this is where I live. This is my whole life. And it's I've seen lots and lots of that. I was going to say the other thing that I've also think that we talked about is the doing interviews and doing grown-up stuff. Suddenly everybody sees everybody's lives, don't they? That, I said I was doing an interview with somebody last week, and I saw her son about four times through the course of various interviews, and it's that human element. And I said, I do hope, it sounds really a bit crappy, isn't it? But I do hope we maintain some of that the worky us tends to be, right, I'm in an office, I'm doing this work thing, let's talk numbers, let's talk whatever. And that human element is coming a little bit more. And which is lovely to see, assuming that it works and we all love each other at the end of this.
I think we've talked about it for so many years, the authenticity, especially when we talk about video and that kind of thing and the use of video. And I think that's something that hopefully people will start to be more comfortable. They're doing this on a one-to-one or multiple basis. And maybe that will encourage them to get out there. But I think these kind of meetings are more authentic. They're real. The blending of technology that we've had is the blending of people's lives and work now. So, with kids running in, with young puppies running in and dogs and people running around the house and dropping plates and to manage everyone's expectations. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 8 hours from everyone's side, guests included.
God, 8 hours. I've got to say that 8 hours of you and me. Do you remember? So because of our age, and maybe because maybe it's my age, not yours. Smashy and Nicey. It's all I think about whenever I think about doing things like this. It becomes, hey, nice, not fantastic there, Smashy. Hey, nice one, Nicey. And it just becomes awful. Or we become really old and become Smith and Jones. And do you remember the Griff Rhys-Jones and Mel Smith sat opposite each other across the table and talked for about 15 minutes, and it was morose and just their heads talking. And it's a format that's gone away on television. I wonder why. So maybe we should have.
Yeah, anyway. Definitely. Yes, I'm with you on there on the Smashy and Nicey things. Pop pickers. Who knows what's going to happen down the road with this? It's going to be So
I don't know what we're going. So we've got. This is going to be the test. So if anybody's watching now, and I apologise the few that are watching currently. There's 5 of you. We're going to
say hello in the discussion bar. Get
I know. Yes. We'll time as I go along actually to see that if we're doing that, maybe the thing. So Gareth is waiting to come into the room. He's not due for another half an hour. I'm going to see if we can get him in and see if this works. Let's see if Gareth comes in. Let's just see if my worry, everybody, is that we've just caught him unawares. Let's miss him. Gareth again! Oh, there you are, matey.
Yeah, completely unawares.
There we go. Completely unawares. Let's go. There we go. Oh. Look at that.
From Gareth's videos that I've seen, I'm sure he's really well prepared and scripted.
He is well prepared and scripted.
Merch in the background there.
Merch in the background. Is he going to?
Product
Is the
placement.
staring man? We're going to do this. This is why. This is why live works, everybody.
Hello.
Yay! Hello, Gav. How are you? I wasn't going to bring you in yet because you're early, which is cool. But also it means it gives me and Jim a chance to not talk too often.
Love it. Well done.
See,
well done.
unlike you guys.
Yes. I know. I've got a blank space here. Have you noticed? This is going to be filled later on.
I can do that, but
I don't know what to put in mine. I was going to, I'll just wheel out some other thing. Yeah, this deliberate sort of blank space. There'll be a whiteboard later on. Actually, for Adam Gordon, when he's watching, we're going to do a game with Adam. He doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to put my tally up there. Gareth, how are you this morning? It's fine. Northern morning, although it's a bit grim out there.
Very well.
So clearly, there's no product placement. We don't know who you work for. I can, it's a complete blank to us. Tell us about Carew.
Right, so we're a technology platform. I'm not from a HR or a talent background. I used to run product teams at Manchester Airport Group and for a company specialising in retail solutions. So the reality is that I'm just a bit of a geek for looking at how we can use technology to improve an experience. And when the opportunity came up to do something a bit different in recruitment, which I've never really had very much of a positive experience with, either being a candidate or a hiring manager, then I jumped at the opportunity. So we've created a technology platform that uses a matching algorithm, and essentially we're looking at a variety of different data points. At no point do we consider a job title. We look at the skills, the tools, the attributes that make up that persona, and then we match that to a job function, and we're starting to look at how we match that to brand attributes as well. We're a recruitment agency free zone for no other reason than that's what our users asked for. So candidates ask for a recruitment free zone, and they also ask, and employers also ask for a recruitment agency free zone as well.
Now, does it work? Because again, that's the challenge, isn't it? Right now, the business is business. We're all finding it different. Some finding it really tough. How's the current situation affected you? Obviously, it means you're now working from a bedroom rather than the nice office. It must have prevented some of your videos, not all of them, I notice. It's prevented some of them.
What's that?
It's prevented some of your videos, but not all of them, I notice.
Yeah. It's we've had to put a halt on our stunts that take place in public areas, but that's not stopping us from producing some homemade content that we can push out and hopefully give people a few tongue-in-cheek tips on how best to maximise your time at home with kids.
And I guess, has that made, obviously we've spoken before, what's the awkward question, how is business? Because again, coronavirus, a lot of your work has been about, getting out and about and meeting people. It's how you go and sell. Clearly that's gone out the window. How are you finding it? And has it changed your business model for this year? Because obviously things are a little bit unknown. I could be sat in my basement now for the next 6 months, who knows?
Well, obviously it's changed everybody's business. It's pretty much put life on a halt, really, hasn't it? It's we've kind of hit the pause button on virtually every aspect of life. What we are seeing is that people are coming onto our platform from a candidate's perspective, and we've got employers posting jobs. So there is still activity. I mean, we went out to our employer community of 420 odd. Probably managed to speak to about half of those to get a feel for what was really going on in that marketplace. And I think I actually shared that information with you.
You did.
But that was the first week of lockdown. And as we discussed on WhatsApp, we foresaw that it was going to get worse, really. And by worse, I mean you just see less activity. So I think about 50% of our audience had actively put on a recruitment freeze. Probably about 25% were unsure, and the other 25% were still actively hiring. In terms of how it's affected our business model, well, we were quite early to the game in terms of home isolation. So we kind of, we had a Carew Cobra committee meeting, the CC, nice. With the board of investors, probably the Monday, so exactly 7 days before Bojo recommended, sort of said, let's kind of do this sort of let's stay out of public area kind of thing.
Then awkwardly went, gave a really big fat hug and got coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly. So we just agreed that we'd already built the team with mobility in mind.
Yeah.
Everybody's got laptops, everybody's got phones, headsets, everything. They're all well equipped. Everything that we do is trackable and traceable online, so we can see whether or not productivity is being hampered. And 2 weeks in, we did a review, and other than response rates to our emails and calls dropping, as you would expect, because people started to migrate from the office environment internally. Aside from that, our productivity wasn't hampered. So the working from home situation is not a problem for us. We have a call probably every couple of days. Everybody seems to wear a ridiculous hat every time we speak.
Nice.
We're very fortunate with the people that we have in our team, because they're all self-starters and very motivated. And during these times of slow periods where we can't get to speak to employers, we're taking it on ourselves to learn new industries. So we want to branch our platform out. So at the moment, we currently cater to most of the roles that you would consider sort of head office function. We've done well out of software engineering, design, development, legal, HR, finance. So you're sort of more corporate head office functions, but we've got Sammy in our team who's research and engineering, which is a big space that could do with a little bit of disruption, if you will. And we know there's going to be a big bounce with the economy. So we've got Abigail looking at retail and hospitality, because clearly when we come out of this, bars, restaurants, nightclubs, etc., are going to need to find people relatively quickly, probably to cater to quite an excessive demand, because people will be gagging for a...
Maybe we're going to want to go down the pub, that's what I think.
Social nearing. What's the opposite to distance? Social nearing.
I don't know what you...
Cuddles.
Just group cuddles, with some sort of cuddle-a-thon. Maybe that's the next stupid idea. Let's do cuddles. Recruitment cuddles. We could, rather than having, we can recruitment cuddles. It's like just this. You hire a big room, you fill it with people who want jobs, and everybody gets a cuddle, and the best cuddle gets the job.
No.
There's no HR issues with that, is there?
No.
Special cuddles, everybody.
Not at all.
So I think the situation has affected our business in terms of our commercial ambitions for this year. As you know, Carews been free since mid-January last year. Our plan was to monetize as of the 1st of April, so tomorrow, and we're ready for that. And we were going to start charging employers £99 per month for unlimited use of the system. However, it's clearly not the right time to do that. So again, during our Carew Cobra committee meeting, we decided that we would push that monetization and that subscription model back for as long as it really takes us to come out of this. One, because, well, it just doesn't make commercial sense to try and activate something like that. Two, there are people actively coming on the market because some employers are making somewhat knee-jerk reactions, laying people off prematurely. And I've actually had several heads of departments from very well-respected businesses approach us, sort of saying, "What have you got on Carew?" So you know, there's some really good quality. Unfortunately, but kind of positively, there's some really strong quality coming through on our platform. And we kind of really just want to help to do anything that we can to get people jobs, and putting a payment barrier in their way is not going to help anybody. So we're going to push that back for as long as we need to. In terms of this thing is how long is a piece of string, but if you look at what's happening with Spain and Italy, we're sort of thinking, you know, we're probably going to be in lockdown and not really mobile for 12 to 14 weeks. But then there are some discussions that it's going to go well into next year. So we'll just have to see.
And that's the thing. I mean, we don't know. As I say, it's all. That's for me. I get really depressed. I earn money by going out and typically flying around to anywhere in Europe, saying, "Hey, I can come and do that." And taking that away has been a real pain. That doesn't translate very well online yet. I'll have to find my thing. I think you're right about your model. I've always liked sounds like I'm biased. I'm clearly not. I'm independent. But I like the platform. I think it works. I can see why people want to use it. They say timing is everything, isn't it? I can see it's an awkward moment. I do think keeping it for free, I can't see you had a choice, to be honest, which is difficult. But from your business, that must make it difficult going forward, purely because you've got to think about, how long's a piece of string? You can't do it for free forever.
No, I think what's important to bear in mind with Carew is that we're well backed and we're well funded. Yeah. And it's not just about the financial clout. It's about the ambition and the perception and the foresight to say this is a seriously big opportunity. I mean, people are still lumbered with sort of jobs boards and recruitment agencies, and the general perception of those is pretty poor, pretty
Yes.
negative, very little investment going into those to improve them.
Yeah.
And as you know, we're experience driven. So it's making money will come from the benefit of having a good product. And we're obsessed with that. And that's what's driving us forward. And our board of investors get that entirely. So we're very fortunate. Do you remember when you used to go to school and there was that rich kid that had everything and you hated him because he had everything?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's me nowadays with the board of investors that we've got. And I'm very, very fortunate. So Crew's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, this rather crappy cloud has quite a nice silver lining for us. We know that the product is not perfect, and I'm the biggest critic of that product. We know what needs to be fixed, and guess what? All of our investment at the moment is ploughed into product. Yeah. We've relaxed all of our marketing. We've got rid of all of the operational costs of having an office, etc. Yeah. We've been very, very nimble and very quick to react to. We're going to need to cut costs invariably, and we need to focus on where that investment for the business goes, and that's into product. Yeah. And because we're fortunate to have such big brands, and better still, such good, experienced experts using the technology, we're in this fortunate position of knowing what's wrong with it, and that's where our time is going now.
It's very cool. Yeah, as you say, sort of a crappy silver lining to a crappy cloud of whatever. Jim, have you got anything before I get rid of Gareth?
No, don't get rid of Gareth yet. This is
well,
great.
Get rid of him.
Kick him off. Gareth, I think one thing that if Martin doesn't put up the link, in the discussions, definitely put up the link to your site, what you're doing, so people can see that. But no, I think you covered a lot there. I think Gareth, I've seen a lot of your videos, and I love what you guys are doing and getting out there. And I think it's probably put a bit of dampener on that, but at the same time, being a little more creative. And do you feel that, Martin and I were just chatting, that because people are now in some respects forced into using the likes of Zoom, that people are going to be embracing video more as they move forward? Do you think that's something that people are going to be more comfortable doing?
I think I think that's an absolutely fantastic question. Slight digression. Let me bring you right back to the question though. When I was in my formative teenage years, I grew up in South Africa, and the time at which I'd moved to South Africa, it was categorized as the most criminally active country, or Johannesburg was the most criminally active city in the world. I have never been to, and we used to live behind bars on our windows. We had rabid dogs. We were advised by an American business to have guns and bodyguards, but I have never been to a country more socially active than that. So I think that when you put up restrictions on people's movements, you do force them to be creative. And actually what we'll see is, I think this will have a big benefit on, flexible working from home. And we'll do more of these video calls. It's so much better to see the whites of people's eyes when you're asking questions. So I think this is, and I've always said video is the future of recruitment. It's the only way that we can really quickly, efficiently meet people. So, for example, we enable a lot of video content on our platform, and we create a lot of video content. And although we're in phase one of trying to be this new sort of a slightly more engaging job board, if you will, that matches on a very different set of attributes. Our phase two is about employer branding content and distribution, because like you said, we do some bonkers films. Not all of them relate to what we do, but the response that they get, not just positively in a public environment, but actually the people that contact me on the back of those wanting to come and work for us because they can see what our sort of culture and our ethos is like through dressing up as condoms or handing out pies in summer or whatever that is. Like, I've had a variety of different people from a variety of different backgrounds and skill sets actually want to come and work for us. And I've always been of this mindset. I would much rather a brand leads with the brand than asking people to react to a job. And the next big iteration of our platform will be, and we're scoping this now for a view of starting to seed some of these lean product features towards the back end of this year, but employer brand content and distribution. And remaining our cheeky selves, we're sort of labeling this the unsocial network.
Brilliant. No, I think you're absolutely right. I think that's great, and I think the whole aspect around driving the brand and the authenticity, I think that's going to bring that into play. You know, people have been more authentic, been a bit more confident about getting out there, and having the appetite to look at solutions like yourselves, because there are so many different hybrids between the agency model. The standard way of agency is to move in between the RPO and various different products that are going out there and solutions. So no, it's great to see, and as I say, it's great to meet you finally and have a proper chat.
Yeah, likewise.
We'll catch up properly after this kind of thing. So if we survive the 8 hours, we're going to try and bring in 8 hours. You know, or maybe it's coming up 7.5 hours now, Martin. So
it's an exciting time. Not that we're taking it away minute by minute. Gareth, I didn't know you were from South Africa. As you can tell by my accent, I was born in Hillbrow.
Oh wow! So you were in Hillbrow when it was.
It wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nothing like it is now. You know, people could live in the streets and live in their apartments and walk the streets, and it was not that place. By the time I'd left, it was heading that way. It's an interesting thing. Yeah,
I once went to Hillbrow to get our visas sorted.
Yeah.
And my father worked for Avon, which is a big American company. We all know that Americans take security very seriously.
Yeah.
But we did have 3 different bodyguards with us. Yeah,
it's an amazing thing. It's still got parents and friends and stuff that's still out there, still carry guns, still do whatever. Epic thing. So, yeah. But I knew you could tell straight away by my, deep Afrikaans accent.
That is dulcet Afrikaans down to right in the bottom there.
You can do it, can't you? I can't do it. I'm more mank than that, and it's horrible. I'm not from Manchester, but I'm more mank than that. I'm going to get rid of you, Gareth, in the nicest possible way, because I feel the segue between you and Dean from Muffield Health may not work, but I don't know. Unless you want to hang on. It's your choice.
Whatever you want.
Well, so why don't I hang on to you then? In which case, let's try and do this, because what we're going to try and do is during the day, for the people that are watching, and there are people watching, where there's a logical segue, we'll try and sort of bring people in. I said it's a bit of a sort of Graham Norton moment that, picture a virtual sofa and putting people on, and eventually we just shove somebody off. In most cases, that person, Stan, if you're watching, will be you. But if it's not, then there'll be other people. So let me just so let's be. He's not actually there yet, so we are going to have to fill just a little bit, boys and girls. Use your chit chat. He's not there yet.
And see, I tell you what is great. You two already finding out something you didn't know about yourselves. You know, Martin, you've talked about Gareth before, and you know that kind of thing. So
don't say what I said about him. Okay.
I thought that's what the comments on YouTube are just saying that you posted.
I think I've said very nice thing. There you
go. While you're on, Gareth, are you tuning into any other shows or anything else you're finding of comfort? Because we're talking about everyone's physical state and mental state, and obviously there's the financial bit, the pillars of us trying to get through this. Is there anything that you're finding really useful for you, your family, and everything else as well, looking at?
Well, I suppose the struggles that I have are also kind of like, it's a double-edged sword. They're a bit of my benefit as well. So not only are we trying to juggle running a business through a rather weird time, but we've got 2 kids, 3 and 5. And if you know anything about 3 and 5-year-olds, they even when you sit them down at an iPad or a desktop to do their work, they could need constant attention. So my agenda today is you guys. I've got an investor call at 11. At 12 o'clock, I'm going outside looking for mini beasts and planting sunflower seeds. 1 o'clock, we've got a product chat with the team for 2 hours, followed by reading time with the kids. The kids do Joe Wicks, obviously. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Yeah.
I think it's just routine. You've got to stick to that routine, and get up in the morning, do a bit of exercise, even 10, 15 minutes just to start your day. Normally you're used to walking to work or getting on the tram or taking a bus. Go outside and walk in your garden just so your body's kind of sticking to that routine. So there's nothing that I'm tuning into yet. There are a few seminars that I do join. There's been a couple on user experience that have been really good, set up by the likes of Money Supermarket. There's also some on social selling. So the team are really involved in that. We're actually doing our own internal presentations as well. So like I said earlier, the team are looking at different industries and sectors that they want to talk to us about, because we feel like the product could work really well in those environments. But we're also saying to the team, we'll do a presentation on yourself, because these little moments like what me and Martin have just experienced, you know, they build longer term relationships, and they give you more things to talk about. And you know, I'm the first to say I don't really want to talk about Carew all the time. I'd much rather hear about, you know, how your life's treating you, and how can we work together to make that a bit better for everybody involved, really. So yeah, those are the sorts of things that we're actively encouraging, and the team actively encourages as well. Don't think this is all on me. Very rarely has this got anything to do with me. I usually just rely on other people.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think getting having that structure and getting out. I know I was in the garden even the early hours of this morning, and I don't know whether anyone else has walked into the garden if they're able to. We're lucky enough to obviously have that. I know some people are sat at home, they don't have that luxury. But even if stepping out the balcony or looking out the window, how eerily quiet it is, how you can hear more birds singing. There's no road traffic noise or anything. And it's such a strange situation to be in. But yeah, it's yeah, good.
I think you've got to take those moments as well, because as much as this is, it is a horrific time for a lot of people, but I think you've also got to try and, you know, look at it as I'm never going to get to spend probably this much time with my kids again. You know, I can be part of their learning journey, and I'm learning stuff as well. Do you know what a tetrahedron is?
No, if that helps. It's
no. So yeah, it's a three-dimensional shape that has the base of a triangle, and it's effectively a pyramid. I didn't know that, but my 5-year-old did.
Brilliant. Learning from the 5-year-olds, and maybe this is what we should do. We should bring the kids on and give them their own YouTube channel and get them starting to do live stuff, and how we can learn from them as well. But I think that balance and blend, and I think Martin, you said at the very start, you know, people are going to be used to this way of living and working. And I think they're going to find it really difficult to adapt. I know the one thing that I've worked from home and I've run my own business for over 10 years. And I've been on site and off site and working from home a lot. And I know now that when somebody mentioned about noise in the background, I can't remember who it was. I think I saw somebody post online about how they found that without having the business noise, I think it's actually Darren from Pager. I know we're getting Rowett on later, but he was saying about business noise, I think, in the background. I actually find it hard when I go to a business with too much noise in the background, because I'm used to my own environment, my own office. And I think people are going to, we're talking now about that work from home onboarding and people getting, you know, inducted how to work from home. I think people may be too inducted on how they're going to be work back integrated into the office environment as well, really, as we move forward.
I said, I won't name drop, a large food distribution business, not delivery, the other one. We're talking about that, about whether, I was talking to their chief people officer the other day about whether they'll ever go back into the office again. They've got large offices in London. Like obviously, everybody's cleared those offices. They've all gone home because they all can. But genuinely, that moment of business has still gone on. It's slightly different. It's a bit clunky in places because it's sort of new. But the prospect of it, they think initially, you know, when we can go back, everybody will want to be back in the office just to spend time chatting to everybody and seeing everybody. But then the reality is, you don't need to be there anymore. And this is again sort of propelled even large organisations to probably think, why have I got that huge, great cost of a building when I probably just need something different? I need some, you know, just meeting place probably is actually what I really want. I don't need desks. I need people to be able to come and just meet and spend time and then clear off and go back to their screen somewhere else and facilitate something different. So I think there's an opportunity. There's I saw a business the other day that's a bit like a WeWork, but only does conference space or desks, as in large desk space. So you meant to just, it's like a giant floor of a building, just meetings. And I suspect they didn't know it. But when we come out of that, they'll probably do okay because people won't want the office, but they do want someone to go and spend some time and then clear off again. And I think that'll be, that's the way forward. You can tell that. Go on, you shut up. You go.
Yeah, I was going to say, Gareth, you said at the very start about the upturn at the end of this. But I think something I'm hearing from everybody is, you know, a positive note is everyone's pausing things and putting things on freeze. You know, it is a pause. And hopefully we take that, however long that pause is, at the end of that, things will go. And you're absolutely right about holidays and hospitality. You know, people will have cabin fever. They'll want to get out. They'll want to go more. I think we were talking about live events. You know, friends of ours, you know, Bobby and Jamie, who run the Likes of Wreckfest. I may be coming on. I don't know whether Jamie's going to come on, catch on later on. But you know, those kind of events, you know, people will want to go out and any kind of event and socialise. So I think it's going to have an upturn at some point. So I think it's right to look at that pause, what happens later down the line.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Zoom, for example, were one of the first. Obviously, they're doing pretty well out of this situation at the moment. When he started it, he built this business off the idea that he couldn't speak to his girlfriend because they were in different cities in China, and it would take 9 hours on the train, but he only had the weekend because he was still studying at university. When he migrated to the US and set this up, what he found was that businesses, he wanted to create, what he found was the water cooler moment, right? The idea that everybody congregates around the water cooler, and that's where the best personal chats happen. So he created Zoom to have a function that would be able to enable people to have a water cooler moment. So his customers could actually join that water cooler online, and everybody could contribute. And he's actually learned a lot more about his product by doing that. So that's something that potentially we could take into this idea of working from home, is that, well, we could have just a live open Zoom, a Zoom area where people can go and hang out and have a chat. So I do think we'll see more people working from home, but I also think we'll see a greater respect for the office environment as well.
On that subject, I'm just going to dip in there. Dane, I still don't know how to say their name, is here. He has a few problems getting in through the power of Zoom. Zoom is a lovely thing, everybody, because obviously we're using Zoom today. It's also slightly contentious for some people's security. So let me just bring Dean in, and we can carry on the conversation as if by magic. Dean, are you with us? Says you are. Switch your video on.
Dane, are you with us?
Well, Dane, are you with us? And then you have to tell me Dean or Dane, and then I'll stop getting it wrong.
There we go.
There we go with this. You know what? This is the thing I'm worried about, that we've got 25 people. That smooth transition that Graham Norton experiences on a sort of a sofa with a TV crew and all the rest of it doesn't work. And also, he doesn't go live. He does it not live.
Okay. I'm asking to start the video, so he needs to start the video. There's some little tech on the right-hand side. So Dane needs to just hit the video, or maybe re-enter using join with video. Sometimes a little box comes up, so may want to log in, log out again, and join with video. Maybe we'll try.
Yeah, I know
that.
Problems with coming through corporate security. Do you know what?
Yes.
Anyway, there we go. Yay! Look at that. Hello, how are you? Oh.
No, now's the microphone time. Actually, Dave, this is brilliant. You can hear us here. You see, this is Martin and I, and probably Gary. We use Zoom quite a lot, and a lot of people do. And actually, I was showing my mum how to use Zoom the other day, and she just could not get the microphone to switch on. And it's normally the first thing that people don't do. And there's a little column down the right hand side. If you click it, I can now see you have the microphone. You're live. You're on air, Dane. Dane?
Is it Dean or Dane? Please tell me.
Dane, like that incredible singer from the 90s, Dane Bowers.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone there with that one. Do you remember Dane Bowers? Do you remember how awful he was?
Yeah.
Do you not remember the awkwardness with him and Katie Price?
That's the joke. That's what I think. Don't get me wrong, that Freak Me song was incredible, and that song with Victoria Beckham, everyone knows that, so...
There you go, everybody, and that we should just close. I think that's it. The Dane Bowers moment.
That says so much about you, Dane, already. You know what I mean? Everyone understands exactly where you sit, and that's great. I'm with you. I'll go with the Victoria Beckham and song. I think that was good. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So, how are you today? How is life at Nuffield Health?
Yeah, at the moment it's all guns blazing. We are in the mode of supporting all the hospitals, all the NHS hospitals, transferring them all over so that we can look after COVID patients. What we're doing right now is really good in terms of supporting the national crisis, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
I mean, obviously you've been really busy. I mean, I don't know the question to ask. To me, you're recruiting frontline care staff. Mm-hmm. How has it gone? Because are you at that moment of being saturated with people? I was talking to a large retailer, Asda, thank you very much, who were, they're absolutely full pelt. They've gone from a very steady sort of reasonably slick process to just going all out, and it's been chaos. But equally, they feel like they have to get there to make sure that the thing's done. So how's it been?
So it was a really interesting period. Like 1 minute, we're recruiting for all the gyms, for all the hospitals, for all the corporate clients that we have. To all of a sudden, stop. We need to refocus. What do we actually need? Okay, we have to wait for our strategy to change. Now that we know that we are going to be supporting all of the COVID patients, it's going to be potentially redeploying some of our staff into some of those support worker roles, ensuring that we've got enough nurses, etc., to look after the patients, making sure that we've got enough PPE, all that kind of business.
It's tough though, isn't it? I mean, do you feel like you're? I mean, this is going to be trying to get you an MBA or something. Do you feel like you're on the front line of doing this? Because I think I said it must be. We've talked about unprecedented times. Hopefully, in our lifetime, this will never happen again. But you're actually right at the forefront of it. There's also, I guess, this sort of doom and gloom, isn't there? We were saying earlier on.
Yeah.
Some organisations are closing. If you're in hospitality right now, then you've typically laid a load of people off. It's all doom and gloom, whereas you're actually right at the front, and awkwardly, I suspect, at the beginning end of this stuff as well. We're not hit peak yet.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the journey for sure. So it's definitely going to evolve as we go along these next 2 to 3 months. Would I say that I'm on the front line of it? Probably to the extent that the supermarkets are. No, not right now, but I can imagine that we will be. Potentially, even we in recruitment as well might be supporting in the hospitals if required, which I don't mind doing at all. For me, when I took this role, I wanted to work for a company that was all about physical and mental well-being, and now we're in a situation where we're actually able to demonstrate to our colleagues that actually we do care about you. We're gonna get you through this time, whether it's paying them whilst they're off, or giving them an opportunity to see other areas of the business. We've had a lot of communication from the CEO to our line management. We've really been looked after. And in the hospitals as well, everyone's really nervous. They really are. It's a really stressful time, but we're all in it together, and it's that whole sense of community. So yeah, I actually feel really proud of what I'm doing right now.
No, I think you should be. I think, I think you are. I think absolutely should be. I think it's great. And we need people, we sound, again, really crap probably, but we need people like you who know what they're doing to make the process really work properly, so that we're still, so you're still hiring appropriate people for the appropriate skill, the appropriate time, and they still need to be onboarded properly. They still need to do that. I mean, in terms of how things have changed from 6 months ago to where you are now, you're clearly you're sat near your record collection. I can see at the back that you've got a decent vinyl set there.
Dane Bowers, Victoria Beckham,
all of their albums,
pretty much.
Both of them. Have you got? No, don't do the Katie Price thing. They're all from Katie Price thing.
No.
There's a video in my head. I don't know why. What's happening about some of those more sort of back office functions? Has everybody from Netherfield Health gone home who can?
Yeah. So do you know what? I think now is going to be a massive change in how we do things moving forward. I think a lot of what we're doing right now is going to be permanent. A lot of companies are hesitant about working remotely, but Nuffield Health have pretty much been, from my experience, the majority of the team are been able to work from home anyway. We truly do have hot desks where you can literally work wherever you want to. I actually genuinely find it challenging working from home. There's so many distractions. I actually can see I've got so many finals to choose from. I've got the PlayStation.
Or just two, really. It's just Dane Bowers and Victoria Beckham. That's it. And you've just got lots of them, because when you wear them out, you play them so often.
You've got a young family as well, Dane, haven't you? You're doing the juggle, and you're, as you were saying, and just to say you are doing a great job. What you're doing to help is part of that process. But you are actually at home. You're not furloughed, for all the people there, or you've not lost your role. But you're trying to juggle that working and doing your job with the family coming in and out, and your own mental health and your own well-being and everything else as well that goes along with it. How are you finding those challenges with the young ones? Because you're quite young, aren't they? They're
so my daughter's 3.5, and so I've been with my partner and my little one. They've been under my feet pretty much what I've been trying to do there. So I'll be doing like video calls or video interviews or whatever. But I just have to say at the beginning, like my daughter might want to sit on my lap during this call at some point, or come up to me and ask
Yeah.
me to change Dolly's clothes or something. But I think it's understandable. I don't think it'd be acceptable at any other time. But to be fair, even if I was working from home, my daughter for some reason happened to be here. I think it's quite sweet that she wants to be part of the call and see what I'm doing. But definitely avoid it if I can.
I think Martin and I were chatting first of all before we came on and saying, about how this is now really authentic and you're getting to know people. Gareth there, is actually from South Africa, and Martin's from South Africa. The two people didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
People are getting to understand how you're juggling your life, your family with your work as well. And that adds other challenges. And I think it's enriching, maybe, the understanding of each individual and the relationships that we have, the relationships you have with your clients, with your candidates, with the employees. And I mean, are you actually seeing candidates through this as well? Are you engaging with them through Zoom and that kind of thing at the moment?
Yeah. And to be fair, I think a lot of people that know me in this space know how much I love tech and especially videos. I'm a massive video geek, because if you can't build a relationship, can you, unless you actually have this kind of conversation. You can over the phone, but there's so many distractions. Or if you're doing it over Skype, you'll hear people tapping away because they might be working. They may or may not, but it takes a lot of willpower. So I suppose I'm going a bit of a circle, but yeah, when I'm speaking to candidates, a lot of them before might have been hesitant about being on camera, but now they kind of have to. And it's really it is endearing, because a lot of them you can tell they're not comfortable with it, but the fact that they're actually pushing themselves even during these circumstances to do it, I then acknowledge that. I can say, look, I really appreciate that you're doing this for me. And it's about us as recruiters or as individuals, how we connect and make the other person feel comfortable.
100%, definitely that engagement you get,
Interestingly enough, Zoom has done some research on it as well, mate. So what you're saying is bang on. There's science to prove it. Like, if you get people on a Skype call where they're not visible, they're not as productive. So when you have video, people actually tune in, engage, and pay attention to the output of that call. And video calls can be shorter, and generally speaking, people want them to be shorter. So the output of that video call is much stronger and much more potent than just a generic telephone call.
What I've been doing to adapt recently is that rather than getting the candidates to come in and expose themselves potentially to germs, viruses, whatever it might be, encouraging the managers to video interview them, and then talking to the hiring managers about any objections they've got about actually making an offer to them over video, because traditionally, you'd get them in face to face. Oh, but they need to see the department, they need to meet certain people. Well, actually, get that person to actually do a video introduction. Actually take videos on WhatsApp of your department, show them around, and then send it to them. They don't actually have to physically be there. If the candidate wants to be there before they make a decision, then I appreciate that. That's just another conversation that we have.
Yeah, that's massive. Like, I think that's exactly the future. That's what we've enabled on our platform. So at the moment, you've got a brand profile that can have some sort of generic corporate video or whatever. But our job descriptions now also carry video introductions. So we've enabled candidates to be able to do that, and the uptake's pretty low. I mean, we've probably had about over 20,000 candidates join our platform in the past 12 months, but probably only seen about an 8% uptake. And that's generally in a design function. As you would imagine, they're putting up show reels of their work. And we've had very, very minimal uptake from employers. But we're going to start pushing this much harder because, like you say, I think, just me talking to the head of department about a particular, not necessarily even the job per se, but just showing me that, hey, this is the vision and it's coming from the CTO and this is what our team's like and this is what we work on from the head of department. And then, you don't even have to have people from the department adding any real value through words. It could just be having a laugh.
And I think I'll add in Dane. I know does a pun day every now on LinkedIn. You've done a number of videos and those kind of things. And I think it is important to show that other side. I think one thing working from home, people talk about the office culture, is the banter, is the crack that you can have in an office. And that backwards and forwards between people online, is can come across as well. And, you know, and Dane, your puns come across, I often chuckle at them and see them come on through. Like your videos, Gareth, that you're doing, you know, that light-hearted nature is where that blend has come in. And I think this is what is encouraging people. And you can see that authenticity when you're having a video call with them, a chat, and, you know, your hiring manager doing a video and that kind of thing as well. So, it's
inherently a human function. It's a relationship, right? We can't like hide behind technology and brand. I've always been this. I've always had this idea that your brand's your people. You know, we build great products, but it's people who build the products. So let's put the people in front of the product. Like what you're doing, Dane, is nothing short of, and along with like the other NHS, it's nothing short of like a miracle, to be quite frank. So I want to see those people and what it's like for them. I'd like to, because through that, I'm going to have a personal connection with that word, Nuffield.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely. Cool. My internet's dropping in and out here a little bit. I've gone from wired to Wi-Fi in a second, but I think we're getting into some really good nitty gritty, and we're getting into understanding of how we're working and how these kind of things are going to enrich and the positives out of this. We talked about everything being on pause. You're in a situation where the gym side of the business has paused, but you're repurposing those individuals to go and do other bits of work, which is businesses looking at things in a more reactive way to repurpose their staff. Because I know, Sat, as a TA, sometimes people didn't think about the people that you had and the opportunities that you could give them within the business. And that's brilliant. That's a great thing to do. But I also think that as we come through this, you know, people are going to be wanting to do other things. They're going to be upskilled to do different parts of work. And those you've moved from the gym side of things into the healthcare side of things might not want to go back to the other side of the business. So you're going to have a gap there. But the important thing is that pause. It's on pause. It's not stopped. It's still going, and your business is moving forward. Others are paused for this moment in time. Some, unfortunately, probably have stopped, which is, you know, a situation we all find ourselves in some respect. But yeah, I think it's good. Lonnie's busy there. I know he's in the middle of all this kind of. I think he seems to. He's faded out and around. That was one of the things we were worrying about. That one of the co-hosts would completely disappear in the day. You know, as we were all chatting and leave it just to one of us, where he is here, he's just not.
Fair enough.
Leaving me to it, Martin.
But you just do so. Otherwise, I talk over you. It becomes the Dangerfield show, and I don't want that. I've got other things. I was also distracted. I was because of this slick operation that we've got of just being the two of us. I was also doing some online things. Yes, Gareth, I think this is the Graham Norton beard. I don't know whether to keep it or get rid of it. I was going to get rid of it, but I look so old. It's anything.
And on that, is Gareth in the Graham Norton seat? And is that the thing you pull the lever down the side and then eject?
Not yet. Oh, not yet.
Sorry.
We want to have some at the moment.
I was going to say, what I like, Gareth, is I gather that's actually. I gather that's actually your bed that you're sat on. Is it a bedroom that you're in? Yeah. With the background. This is going to be really interesting today to see where people are going to set themselves up. So I did put a note up on one of my posts saying if you wanted to dress up, and any guests listening, if they want to dress up, it's entirely up to them. Because one of the things I think we're finding is we're not going out and dressing up. You know, Dane, I've seen you at events. Martin, we go to a lot of events. You know, you're out and about doing your videos, dressing up, maybe in a high suit. I won't say the other suits you've dressed up in, but those kind of things. We're not getting the chance to dress up. So I've put on a shirt and a jacket and that kind of thing. I thought, hey, you know, let's make this a bit light-hearted, but also gives people the chance to dress up. So who knows? You
smell great as well, Jim. You smell fantastic.
Thank you, buddy. I'll do some product placement in a minute for like some links and other things. And there are other after shows in the market if anyone wants to sponsor later on in the background these shows.
Suddenly got a vision of an Old Spice bottle appearing. I don't know why. Sorry.
High karate, I thought.
Oh, high karate. Oh, shame your age again, mate. Mind
Yeah.
I did want to say something to any recruiters listening. Do you know what? Take this opportunity now to brush up on your skills, to network. Like I network with people. That's how me and you know each other, Jim. You can learn so much from the other people. Don't be so protective. We need to grow as an industry. I've met so many inspiring people. For instance, you might recognize this.
Yes.
recruiter by Katrina. She's on a call later on. I've had the pleasure of having a masterclass by her, but definitely recommend that people read this. I get nothing for it, but yeah, this was all about using technology to enhance the human experience.
100%. Katrina's brilliant. She's going to come in on later. Thank you, Katrina, before you come on later on. But yeah, I think...
Is she coming, Jim, or are you just saying that?
Yeah. No. She's I tagged her in. Sorry. I'll say sorry again.
Tagged her in. So it doesn't mean people come on.
A long story. But no, there are really inspirational people out there. And I think you're absolutely right. For me, on the chats that I have, and say Claire and Louisa coming on, talk about the working lunch, we talk about recruiters on the agency side, and chance for anybody in a business is that, are not directly recruiting, to engage with people like yourself, Dane, to understand how can they help you moving forward? What will it like when you need to do that? Build a relationship with your candidates, because that talent pool will be needed, and also build the relationships internally as well, because there is a distance between the agency and in-house. And now's a great time for that void to be filled. Now's a great time. You're busy. You don't want to be overloaded with calls. But, if you had agencies ringing out to you and saying, look, Dane, tell me, when you've got 5 minutes, how can I be of benefit to you? This is how we were thinking. What is it? What will add value to you? And I think that will strengthen the relationship between all types of businesses, from job boards to innovative, creative boards like that Gareth's doing, to have that engagement and have that chat.
Cool. It went quiet then, didn't it?
Yeah, it did went quiet. I thought it might just be one of those awkward pauses.
I'm not going to plug in them, particularly with social talent. We've also got created some online training. They're doing that for free right now for a chunk of time. So people, again, sort of knowledge transfer of having recruiters who've probably got time on their hands, perhaps not. But certainly, I think giving stuff away for free like that's really helpful. It's normally quite expensive.
And they've got tons of YouTube videos as well.
And there's tons of YouTube videos.
I'm always watching them outside of working hours.
Yeah, no, it's just say people taking the opportunity to take stock and do something different.